Learn how to talk about it because if you don't tell people what's going on, they can't help you. And even though I do a lot of mental health related content, and that's just what I'm really passionate about, this also applies to basic everyday things. Like if you're at a grocery store and you're trying to find something and you can't find it, if you don't tell the lady or the man at Walmart that you're trying to find the Kraft mac and cheese, they can't help you because they don't know. And people have this tendency to assume that other people are mind readers, but we don't want them to assume that we're mind readers. You can look at relationships and how, yeah, this won't come off offensively, hopefully not. But I'm sure, ladies, y'all are going to get the point I'm making. That a lot of times in relationships, women will assume that just because their partner knows that they're mad, that somehow their partner knows what they're mad about. And we'll ask, like for men, we will ask, well, what are you upset about? I don't want to talk about it. Well, then we don't talk about it. And then, why didn't you ask? Why didn't you help me? Because I can't read your mind. And in the same way, throughout your life, you might have a problem with a friend or a family member or a relationship or mental health or a test coming up that you're really stressed about. And people can't help you because you just did not tell them. Unfortunately, though, a lot of people are raised in environments where you're constantly being told not to talk about it. You're being told that you have to either toughen up, be man enough, or that nobody cares. And that's a really painful spot to be in because on the small level, you're 5 years old and you need help with your English homework because you can't figure out how to spell a certain word. But on the big level, you don't open up about the mental health challenges you're dealing with, and it leads to a lot of problems and pain and issues for your well being. But it's important that we learn how to talk about it because if you don't talk about what you're going through, it's often just going to build and build and build and build and become this way worse problem. Whereas if you would have said, I'm feeling upset that you said that thing to me. I'm feeling upset that you're hanging out with your female friends and I'm your girlfriend and I am uncomfortable by that because, in my past relationship, I was cheated on. You shouldn't be bringing your past relationship problems into your new one. But if you're at least open and communicate these things, your partner can be more understanding. Or also, you might have a friend who makes jokes about you. Like they make jokes about how you look or your weight or whatever. And to them, it's really just a joke. Like to them, they don't have any mean, malevolent, painful intent behind it because growing up in their family, that's how they joke with each other. Like that's how they were raised. So it's not to justify someone making a joke about your weight, but if they don't know, they don't know. Because some people, that's how they joke with each other. So you could just simply tell your friend, like, don't say that about me. Don't joke about me. I don't like when you say that. You don't have to be rude and mean and all aggressive about it. You just have to communicate your feelings. And if they decide that they don't care how you feel, you can get a new friend. But you can't get a new you. Like you can grow and develop as a person, but you get one life. Like you are put on this earth, you live it, and you go off to wherever you go off to. For some people, that might be reincarnation. Some people might be heaven. It might be hell. It might be samsara, nirvana, whatever you believe in, whatever your religious or spiritual path is. But regardless, as you go about your life, you have to learn how to communicate. Not just communicate that you need help with something or that someone upset you, but also communicate the good things. Like communicate stuff like mom, dad, brother, sister, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, insert their name. I really appreciate when you do this thing and it makes me feel happy. Like I really appreciate when you show up to my basketball game or my ballet rehearsal and are cheering for me in the crowd. It makes me feel appreciated. It helps me to know that you are proud of me. Or to your girlfriend or boyfriend, I really appreciate how you check in on my mental health and how you are kind and supportive, and it makes me feel valued and I appreciate that. It had to be specific and clear because just saying thank you, I appreciate you is nice, but it's not as good as being clear and specific with people. And that transfers into other areas of life too, because in a job interview, they're going to ask you questions like, at least in my experience, they would often ask questions such as, what is an example of you working in a fast paced environment? What is an example of your leadership skills? How do you work in team environments? They'll ask questions, and you need to be able to communicate clearly and demonstrate that you are the person for this. Like for this job, for this opportunity, for this connection. But you also don't want to overextend yourself because some people will, and this used to be me, will have this tendency to over explain and try to say like how great they are and how you really should appreciate them and basically try to bend over backwards to get your affection. We don't want to do that. We just want to communicate. We want to be clear and say, here's who I am, here's what I am, here's what I'm dealing with, and I would appreciate if you understood that. But also, communication really is the underlining of just about everything in your life. To make a friend, you need to be able to speak to people, to get a relationship, to get a job, to get an opportunity. You need to be able to communicate your thoughts, feelings, and intentions with them. Which is why, for me, one of the things that helped me a lot with that was journaling. Because when you spend 15 minutes every day over the course of weeks and months and years writing your thoughts out, you become really good at articulating them. You become really good at taking these complex, multi layered ideas, simplifying it, and sharing it with people. Like if you watch my YouTube videos all the way through, you'll notice that I often will like stop, I look up to a corner, and then I start talking like this because I'm thinking about this like really big picture idea and simplifying it and giving the value without having to break down all the layers up there. Then I'll circle back to it. Like a great example of this is when communicating our ideas, nobody knows it how we know it because there's so many things that we've learned throughout life and our experiences and the things we've been through that make our perspective unique. And you need to understand what's the unique things about you. Like, for example, I am a black guy who speaks Vietnamese. I don't speak fluent Vietnamese, so please don't try to have a conversation with me in it. But I can understand very basic Vietnamese. Like, I can communicate my name, where I'm from, what language I speak, um, certain like foods I want, numbers, like really basic Vietnamese. But that's something you would never know about me unless by some coincidence you happen to see me at a Vietnamese restaurant. Or you happen to know that multiple of my ex-girlfriends are Vietnamese. Or you happen to know that a lot of my favorite music is in Vietnamese. So, the point I was getting at with that is we all have unique things about us that nobody knows because we just don't tell anyone. And there's so much that we don't know about each other because we don't share it. You might have walked past some sort of like super genius on the street, but you just didn't know. You might have walked past somebody who could have been your future wife or husband or whatever, but you just didn't know because you didn't talk to anybody. And I'm not saying you try to become friends with every single person left and right, or that you tell every single person your life story, but everyone has a story. Everyone has something. And communication, sharing what you've experienced and what you've been through and your life with them is the gateway to new opportunities, new friendships, new relationships, and all of that. So, as I close out this video, I want to just tell you this: tell people about yourself. Like, tell people simple things. Like, my name's Lawrence. I like to go fishing. I like to do this. These are my hobbies. Here are the things I'm interested in. What about you? You don't have to word it in that exact format, but you get the point. Or maybe you're at a college and you meet somebody and you're majoring in photography and they're majoring in graphic design. And you can ask them, well, what made you decide to do that? Why does graphic design stand out to you of all the majors? And I have an uncle who he's a photographer. And I asked him about that. Like I asked him, why'd you decide to become a photographer? He told me it's about the beauty of visual storytelling and how he can look at a picture and just see the story behind it. And our lives are really just a long strand of stories and experiences that we know about, but no one else sees our full movie. They only see the snapshot. There's so much that leads up to this moment right here, but if you don't share how you're feeling, what you've been through, and where you're going, and I don't mean like where you're physically going, I mean on a more like metaphorical, what's your goals, what's your aspirations with people you know, love, and trust, they can't support you because they don't know. And you never know who is there and wants to support you. Like a bunch of my little cousins found my videos on YouTube and they showed them to my grandma. So now sometimes like my grandma will randomly call me and be like, Lawrence, I saw your video and for like 30 minutes we'll be talking about it. Or I'll be like sometimes I'll be out fishing and people will recognize me and come over and they'll talk to me and be like, "Yeah, man, I saw your video a couple months ago and you've really been helping me and it's beautiful." It's that's a big part in why I do this. I like knowing that I have an impact on others. I like knowing that I've been able to support people who otherwise may not have gotten it. Because even though this isn't just about like race, most of the time, like in black communities, especially for black men, we get taught that we have to be like these big, strong, tough people and can never show our emotions and can never talk about how we feel because we're gonna look soft. And I'm not saying that you need to go bawl your eyes out on the street and tell every single person every single thing about you, but you need to talk to somebody. Like, you need to talk to somebody. I'm not necessarily saying you need to go get a full blown therapist, but if that's what you need, that's what you need. But start out simple, like talk to your mom or your dad or your family members or your friends about what you're going through, like what you're experiencing. That might be like, I'm really stressed out because I got fired from my job. It might be I'm having this mental health challenge. It might be I just don't feel good inside because you might not have the language and words to communicate what you're trying to express. You might simply just say, something feels really wrong inside, but I don't feel sick. It's like this mental pain. You can, and if you don't know how to express what you're feeling or understand what you're going through, you can try like Googling, you can try finding like YouTube videos, like maybe searching something like, I feel really, really sad, but I don't know why. And you search it into YouTube and you can find like a video about depression. I'm not saying you self diagnose yourself, but what I am saying is that if you at least know what's going on, you can possibly find the resources that are beneficial to you. Or maybe you could go on like ChatGPT and you type out, I feel really stressed out, but I can't figure out why. And it can help you to figure that out, which again, don't use ChatGPT and YouTube and Google to self diagnose yourself, but it is really darn useful for having an idea of what's going on. And when you have an idea of what's going on, it makes it easier to communicate that to other people who can help you and support you. Because help really is only a conversation away. Whether that help be, I need somebody to help me with studying for my math test, or that help be mental health resources, or that help be someone helping you to build a couch, like you're putting together a couch from IKEA, or that help be, I was on the train last week, and I don't know why this happens to me so much, but a lot of times immigrants, and I say this because they obviously can't really speak English by the way they talk to me. They'll come up to me when I'm on the train and ask me for like help with stuff like where to get off. And conveniently, I happen to be good at communicating with them because my ex-girlfriend's parents barely, well, her grandma barely spoke English. So whenever we would talk, I would have to like not dumb it down, but I would have to simplify the language to make it as clear as possible. And I was on the train and this lady comes up to me and she had like a Hispanic accent and she asked me, well, I'm trying to remember what exactly she said. Okay, I can't remember what exactly she said, but she came up to me and she needed help getting off the train. And I was asking her, like, where? So she goes on her phone and she, like, zooms in on a picture of a street sign. And I know where that street is. So, like, okay, I will get you there. And she was like, okay, okay. And she trusted me to make sure she got to her spot safely. And I did. I got her there and then I went to my office. And I think to myself about how, had she not asked for help, she probably would have gotten lost. And throughout our life, we all can find our way on our own. Like it's possible, but it's a lot easier to get where, what, and when you want when you simply ask, when you simply communicate, when you simply tell people, I don't like when you do that. Can you help me with this? How do I do this thing? Where do I learn about this? That's really what I do. I'm not teaching you anything like super duper crazy. I just make it very easy for you to improve your confidence, self worth, and outlook on life. I help you to improve your mental health through books that I've wrote, which you can find in the description below, through speaking engagements. If you're a podcast host, school principal, or run a youth focused organization, you can contact me at lawrence@lawrenceharris.com. Make sure you put something in the subject line, such as speaking opportunity. That way it doesn't get sent to my spam. And I also offer one on one calls with people where you can book a call with me and get some advice. And we could talk through your problems because you guys have heard my. Yeah, I'm not gonna judge you. Like, I'm not gonna judge you because I have put my most sensitive, personal, painful moments on the internet for the entire world to judge. I'm not gonna judge you if you call me. Well, if you book one of those calls with me and you start telling me about your problems, I'm not gonna judge you. Trust. And with that said, I hope that you have a wonderful, lovely, and fantastic day.